Welcome back to part 2 of No Stupid Questions. This series is one of my absolute favorites because it gives us the space to sit with an expert and ask the things most people hesitate to say out loud. If you have not listened to part 1 with Dr. Harry Anderson, I encourage you to go back. We build the foundation there. We explore core nutrition, ulcers, alfalfa, energy, and the beliefs we often accept without ever understanding the full picture. Today, we go deeper. We explore what happens inside the digestive system once the basics are in place. We talk about the real role of sugar. We look at fiber through a lens you have probably never heard. We explore mineral balance, metabolic health, and how small internal shifts can completely change the way a horse feels in their own body. This is the part of nutrition that rarely gets explained, and it is the piece that gives you the real clarity as a rider and a caretaker. Let's get into part 2.
Dear Horse World, it's Dr. Harry Anderson.
Okay, pull the first one.
Okay. Oops.
You can get 2. You can. There we go. How can I critically evaluate the sourcing and manufacturing transparency of equine supplement brands?
Oh my. Yeah, that's a good place to start because I don't know if I can give you an accurate answer to that, because if I were tomorrow decide I'm going to make a supplement, 1 ounce a day on top of your horse feed, and I decide, let's see, what do I want to do with this? What do I want to call it? I'll just pick something, and then I'll look for the nutrients that could help that. And as long as the ingredients I put in that are sanctioned by USDA and are approved for animal feeding, they have to be approved for animal feeding. I can make any combination I want in there and put it out and tell you, Noel, feed this and your horse's eyes will sparkle. And nobody can argue with me until they prove me wrong.
Right.
But in the meantime, I'm probably down the road and I've sold a whole bunch of it, and I got some people that will say, oh yeah, it did. Well, people can imagine responses. You know that?
Yes, they can. I've seen it. I've also just guilty of that.
Yeah. They spend money on it, so they want to see it work.
Justify the results. It's very true.
Yeah. So I don't think there is a real way unless you just go to the company that manufactures it and say, show me some documentation of this combination of stuff in this supplement that and what it has done for horses. And if they don't have it, if they don't give it to you, you have to go by word of mouth.
Yeah.
That's why most of it's sold anyway.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Okay, I'm going to pick one next. Are multi-supplements leading to unintentional vitamin mineral overdosing?
I think in many, many cases, they are just overloading on certain things. Thank heavens the body just sloughs off what it doesn't need. But yes, I see things where people have been putting stuff on my feed way overloading.
Really?
Oh yeah, certain things.
So what are particular nutrients or micronutrients that we can't overdose, like that we shouldn't give too much of because it could be damaging?
Selenium. Be careful with selenium. If your feeding program has adequate selenium and you take another one that has the daily needs in it, also you could overload. That can cause with vasoconstriction, and that ends up with shelly hooves. Because if you start to constrict the blood flow to the hoof, you start getting bad feet.
Okay.
And can even, bad enough, it can affect the ears.
Really?
Stop blood flow in the ears, and you can get short ears. Tail fall off.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So selenium is the one we really need to be careful of.
That's one. Other than that, most of them are just going to go on through the body and get passed out in the urine or in the feces, one of the two.
Okay.
And they won't really be injured. It's hard to hurt an animal with an overdose of well, there is some copper in sheep. You have to be careful. You can kill them real easy. They can't tolerate copper.
What about taxation on like the kidney, for example? Because the kidney is responsible for a lot of the detoxification in our body, right?
Yeah, it all has to pass out through the kidney. So
right.
it overtaxes the kidney, and yes, you can cause, theoretically, you could cause kidney damage.
Or just or kidney distress or kidney fatigue.
Yes.
Okay. Because I learned a lot of that talking to Dr. John Langlois. From a TCVM point of view, we want to think about the integrity of all the animals, all the horses' organs.
Yes.
How are we supporting them? And often how they expressing themselves in the overall health of the horse. So that's what made me think of, if you're over supplementing, you might be taxing the kidney.
Right.
Okay, you pick the next one. How should my horse's diet change seasonally? Forage availability, workload, metabolic rate. So like how, if, for example, a lot of people in the North American or Northern Hemisphere, those horses get a sort of maybe a heavier workload in the summer because maybe they might be competing or they might be going on big packing trips or rodeo. So how should nutrition be approached like on a seasonal level?
Well, it depends on what you're feeding. But if you're feeding a consistent hay year-round, and you say you're feeding a pelleted product that is taking care of their needs in kind of the so-called off-season or slower season, and suddenly they need more energy, they need more protein and everything, they're already eating all the hay they probably can consume. So what you're going to do is you're going to start feeding more of a pelleted product. That's why on most commercial feed bags, you're going to see the feeding rate or the feeding directions say 6 pounds if idle, 8 pounds if modest work, 10 pounds if heavy work. That's how they have to do it. The best way to do it is just leave the hay, as much hay as they want year-round, and feed Total Equine at 4 pounds a day. I already mentioned that if you feed Total Equine, it decreases hay intake.
Yeah.
They have extra space in there, don't they? So what can happen if they need more energy? They can eat more hay.
Right.
And they don't eat more of the feed. So you feed one level year-round.
Yeah.
And let them decide how much hay they need for various activities, and you'll see it vary. Like cold weather, really cold weather, all of a sudden, boy, it'll go through the roof.
Yeah.
And in hot weather, it'll go down.
Yeah.
Pushing them hard all day and stressing them, it'll go up. And I don't know how much hay a horse needs. I'm not going to even guess. Two things I can't tell you how much they need: salt and hay.
Why?
Salt, I have no idea what the requirement for salt is. At the individual requirement and desire. Do you eat the same amount of salt? Do you ever salt your food?
Yeah, I don't. Ben has way more salt in his diet than I do.
Right. Are his requirements that much higher? Maybe not. Maybe he just likes it.
Right.
And my older son, Eric, he's always eating a pile of salt.
Yeah, I notice that of people. Some people really I consume almost no salt.
I rarely ever put salt on. If I'm cooking, I put a little.
Yeah.
But when I sit down to eat, I rarely ever put salt on my food.
Same.
And so they're the same. Animals are the same. It'll vary Because that'll vary with the weather,
Yes.
type of water, how the forage changes a little bit. You'll see them eat a lot of salt and then none and then bunch and then none.
And I noticed that in water intake as well. So my
yeah.
gelding Galano drinks, I would say 2 to 3 times as much water as my mare lady.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so I do completely observationally
Yeah.
see what you're talking about in terms of individual horses' needs, individual preferences.
Yeah.
Okay, actually I want to ask you about hay, because this is something that I personally need more clarity on.
Okay.
So on this road trip, we've seen orchard grass, timothy, alfalfa.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to people who hate alfalfa. They're like, alfalfa is the devil.
Just scared to death of it.
Yeah. And then I've talked to people who are like, well, timothy and orchard grass are nutritionally very inadequate. Okay. Harry, tell me, how do I approach the nutritional element of hay when I'm thinking about what I'm buying for my horses?
You just need to look at the chemical parameters to know. You might like alfalfa, you might like timothy or orchard or some other grass hay, as long as it meets minimum standards of protein, energy, and the fiber can't. If the fiber's not too high, because you can make up the mineral differences in hay real easy. We do all the time.
Okay.
We have a program. Our program covers all that for all kinds of hay.
So does that mean that hay is not nutritionally or minerally adequate?
Balanced. Maybe better say balance.
Okay.
Because like alfalfa is extremely high in calcium,
Okay.
low in phosphorus.
Okay.
You need to have a forage or a diet within the limits of 2 calciums to 1 phosphorus, up to 4. That's the window where animals are most comfortable. If the ratio of calcium to phosphorus is in that range.
Between 2 and 4.
Yeah,
What?
2 to 1 calcium to phosphorus.
Okay.
2
Like
times
units.
2 times as much calcium, just whatever, percent, units,
Okay,
it doesn't
got
matter.
Got it.
Up to 4, and they will get along just fine.
Okay.
You go past that 4 to 1, and all of a sudden they become phosphorus deficiency, even though there's phosphorus in the feed. And they will crave phosphorus. That's a prime example of cravings. You can animals will eat almost anything there is that has phosphorus in it if they're depraved.
So what has phosphorus in it?
Oh, a lot of stuff. Wood, different grasses, clothing. They'll eat clothing. They'll eat.
So is that why people see horses eating like the fencing, or licking the fencing, or chewing wood?
That most of the time
Could be a phosphorus deficiency.
Phosphorus or possibly a trace mineral deficiency, but it's almost always a mineral deficiency of some kind. They know where to find it. They found it in nature. Right.
And that's the thing, that the more I come to really understand horses, the more I realize that they're foragers.
Oh yeah.
So they're seeking, they're in constant search. That's like what they're biologically wired to do, is to search for their food.
Yeah. And
so that's and move for their food. And a lot of our horses are not doing either of those things.
No. especially the horses that are on nothing but total equine. They eat 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
That's the only.
So what about when someone says that a horse has to be eating like 22 hours a day? That's
I say baloney.
Well, because, okay, when I've heard that, I first ask, well, what about, so there's lots of examples through the evolution of equus as a species that they had to move for their food. They're not eating 22 hours a day. There's no wild horse in the last 100 years that was eating 22 hours a day, but they're moving for their food, which I think movement, I've come to really understand that movement is vital for the health of a horse.
Yes.
But I'm curious as to how how someone decided, or how we know that 22 hours a day that a horse has to have constant food in their system. I'm wondering.
I haven't found that person.
Okay.
But that's a common thinking.
It is a common thing, and I wonder
absolutely.
Who is the origin of that.
Probably a think tank or something like that.
Right.
But if you, here again, what they're worried about is maintaining the acidity or the chemistry in the digestive tract.
Right.
They're saying if a horse isn't eating, it's still producing hydrochloric acid in the stomach, right?
Right.
I don't think so. They produce hydrochloric acid in the stomach in response to food coming in. That's an as-needed thing. Yes, they're probably producing a little bit all the time, but that's not going to have produce enough hydrochloric acid, so it's going down the intestinal tract and causing ulcers.
Right.
No.
Now, because I haven't seen the research yet, and maybe it's out there, and maybe someone who's listening or watching can send it our way if it does exist. But I haven't seen research that was able to differentiate ulcers created by stress and ulcers created by lack of food.
Stress, I'll go along with.
Stress, there's a lot of indication of ulcer creation or formation.
If nothing, it exaggerates any trauma they have in there. Stress does. There's no doubt about that. It does to me too. You know, if I get stressed hard enough, I'll get a bellyache.
Yeah, same.
Just goes with biology. But the as far as the acidity, if people are feeding a pelleted feed, that has raw starch in it, right? If they grind the grain and the starchy pellets, and they push it through a little hole, real under pressure, and it compacts it, and that's all it does is compact that starch.
Right, and that's what pellets are.
Total equine, when you extrude, the extrusion process is they grind it real fine and they put it through a hot tube with moisture in it, so it's basically cooking it while it's going down this tube. Yeah, quite hot. You wouldn't want to hold it in your hand. And well, at the end of this tube, it forces it through what they call a head. It's a dome-shaped thing, full of tiny little holes. And this moist material gets forced through there, and it literally disrupts and shatters the starches so that many, many more particles and so on, so that the particle size is real tiny, and it gives a surface area and increases it many times over the pelleted feed. And then the enzymes in that small intestine can digest it real quick. That's why there's no raw starch gets into the hindgut to colic a horse with my extruded feed.
Fascinating.
In all the years I've been making this, I've been extruding it for 18 years now. I have yet to have a documented colic with my feed.
Really? That's quite a statement to be able to make.
We dare make it.
So going back to hay, because so for everyone who's listening or watching this episode, and they're saying, okay, Harry, or Dr. Anderson,
whatever,
how do I decide what is an appropriate amount of hay for my horses?
The horse decides.
How's that?
You have to let the horse decide how much it needs.
But some horses I've seen will eat themselves to death.
Okay, then the manager has to take over. If you're feeding, let your horse, whatever hay you get, let the horse eat whatever it wants. And if you think it's getting a little bit fluffy, start cutting back little every day, little every day, little every day, until that horse is okay with it. They're going to until they get to where they start fussing and acting hungry. Keep inching it, and you'll be amazed at how they will be comfortable with this less and less and less hay. But you, the manager of their life, have to take charge.
Okay.
They're not going to.
And could horses be exhibiting excessive eating behavior because they are not minerally met in their diet?
Yes. If you don't have a balanced mineral program, they will grossly overeat something with energy and protein in it just to get those minerals they need. And then they're taking in too many calories. And I have examples of that horses that I've come across where we've put them on Total Equine. They were on another program, and they were quite fluffy.
When you say fluffy, you mean fat.
Yes. I don't want
Dr. Anderson's kind way of saying overweight.
And they take that fat off real quick. In fact, we did a trial on this very thing at one of the universities here in Texas. And we had two groups of mares. We fed them, one side was a pelleted product, a very popular pelleted product.
Yeah.
And
probably
over
really
here,
pretty packaging.
Yes. Oh, yes. And over here, we'd used our Total Equine. We fed them at the same rate.
Mm-hmm.
Fed them whatever hay they wanted.
Okay.
And at the end of I forget, 4 weeks, I think it was, they had cut their hay intake over here by 11%. But we did another trial with the same kind of animals, different set, that were a little fluffy, 9-year-old mares. And we fed them kind of the same way. I had them pick a good popular product. I didn't pick it against Total Equine. And during the trial period, neither side changed weight. Well, they both lost 19 pounds. No big deal on an 1,100-pound horse. They can lose that in a day and a half.
Yeah.
But the weight change was exactly the same. These horses on the pelleted program lost 1.5% of body fat, and they gained 1 pound of muscle mass.
Oh, and now we're talking about what's really important.
Over here, these lost 7 pounds of body fat and gained that much muscle, so they weighed the same at the end.
Oh, wow. Now, so for everyone who is listening or watching this episode, this is something that, again, blew my mind when I started understanding that it's not about our horses losing weight. And there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of talk about how to help horses lose weight, because unlike 100 years ago, where our horses were probably undernourished in some aspects of things, or maybe less likely to be obese, we have a real obesity problem in the industry. I see and I've talked to vets about this. This is a common problem, is the horses are overweight.
Yes.
And we're seeing more cases of insulin resistance. We're seeing more cases of laminitis. We're seeing a lot of metabolic problems, more than we used to. So understanding not only the fat loss within your horse, but the muscle gain is something that I really appreciated learning when we worked with Dr. Alberto Rolon and the Equine Performance Innovation Center in Ocala, Florida. Their entire program, and when you take your horses there, it's all about, there's a very important conversation and education about fat loss and muscle gain. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you measure that? Fat loss and muscle gain.
Oh, well, they did a bioimpedance.
Okay.
They used
in your trial.
Yes.
Got it.
And I think visually, it'll show up visually. You can see it. Mm. I have an prime example of a 30-day mare down in South Texas that she was real fluffy. And I have a picture of the day we started her, 30 days later, and you absolutely would not think she's the same one. You would say that you changed horses.
Wow.
Because all of a sudden she trimmed up, darkened up, looked more lively.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting, because the horse world is completely and totally addicted to before and afters.
Oh, yeah. I have piles of them. But I think that's something that it's hard for a lot of people to do that with their horse. what I described, about using some tough love.
Yes.
Because they're being mean. No. They're helping them live longer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not mean to help your pet be more healthy.
Well, I think so I've heard this about parenting, and I think it's a very applicable concept or mindset, which is, are you being kind to your horse today? Are you thinking about the decisions that you're making better for the horse that you have today or for the horse in 30 days? Yeah. And people talk about that. Are you, like in parenting, there's parenting philosophies, they talk about, you can be nice to your kid today,
yeah,
that and really hurt them in 10 years.
Yes.
So parent for the future. Don't parent for the present.
I love that thought process.
And I think it's very applicable to horses.
Right.
Steward your horse for their future self in 5 or 10 years.
Yep.
Don't just be nice in the moment.
Right.
And I think it's a mindset shift. I'm guilty of letting my horses get fluffy. Even on this road trip, they got a little fluffy when we were in Florida. I know. And I was really kind of embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of shame and I had some guilt. And then I started really educating myself on nutrition and also over supplementing. And also this concept that horses don't have to work crazy amounts they don't have to exert insane amounts of energy either in order to be actually physically fit or physically healthy and not overweight. And I think that's a huge, especially if you come from the sports side of things.
Yes.
Everyone thinks about energy input, energy output, yep. Right? How much are you giving for how much are you taking? And so I think that combined with, there's a lot of bored horses in the world that people try to appease with food.
Right.
That's another big behavioral obstacle that I think a lot of people are tackling is, my horse is bored, so I'm going to feed them so that they are more content.
Right. Well, I have lots of stories over the years of people come to me and tell me how they've had to stall up a horse for 60 days,
Yes.
over injury or something.
Yes.
And they were feeding total equine. They said, that horse walked out of the stall after 60 days and looked exactly as athletic as he did going in.
Wow.
They did not get fluffy. They did not change, and they stay legged up. And that has to do with a lot of the microminerals and things that, and they're not wanting energy. The energy use in their body is so efficient that they just don't go looking for it. Especially if you think about feeding 4 pounds of total equine and 20 pounds of coastal hay.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's a typical program. 20 pounds of hay.
Yeah.
4 pounds of total
4
equine.
pounds of total equine.
I can take that same horse, double that total equine, forget the hay, and they're happy as a lark.
Really?
Now, how does that happen? How do they get by?
I don't know anyone else who can in the industry who can say that.
Yeah, I keep asking people, how do you think a horse can get by on 8 pounds of feed that was eating 24 pounds of feed?
Yeah.
Energy, use, efficiency.
Efficiency.
That's what it's all about. And then you have the right catalysts, all these little trace minerals we're talking about.
Yeah.
In the right form.
Yes.
Which we haven't talked about. But
Yes. Okay, I like this. Let's see what the next question is. I'm curious if we're going to get into trace minerals here. How can I test the nutritional profile of my hay to ensure it's meeting my horse's specific needs?
Well, to get the profile, you just need to send it to a laboratory.
Okay.
And ask for a hay analysis, and especially the fiber, the ADF and NDF.
What does that stand for?
Okay. ADF is acid detergent fiber. It's a chemical process they wash certain kind of fiber out with acid media. The neutral detergent fiber is a neutral liquid that they rinse it with and wash out, and whatever comes out is called neutral detergent fiber. Neutral detergent fiber is that fiber that makes up the stalks of a plant, the outside structure, and it's kind of a soluble fiber. And that's going to be the larger number. And the acid detergent fiber is one that's quite indigestible. Well, it's very lowly digestible. It's going to digest, but very low. And so what you want to know is, do you have a hay that's going to be digestible enough to meet the needs for what that horse is doing at the time?
Okay.
And the more ADF it has, the more they have to eat.
Oh, okay.
But the more NDF they have, the less they can eat.
The more ADF they have, the more they have to eat. The more NDF they have, the more they can't eat.
They can't eat only so much. It stops their eating volume.
Got it. Okay. That's helpful, I think.
Yeah.
And there are quite a few, I know there are quite a few, like, labs you can send your
yes.
Get a hay analysis.
Any lab can do those for you.
How can I proactively support muscle recovery through tailored amino acid supplementation?
Well, amino acids are critical for muscle mass growth. There's no doubt about it. What you have to have is a combination of a profile of all, just make sure you're meeting the minimum requirement of all the 22 amino acids you have to have in your body every day. We all have to.
22 amino acids.
I think there are 22. There's 10 essential ones that you probably don't get in your food. There are quite a few you don't get in your food. You don't make in your body. We make a lot of the amino acids from ammonia and glucose. And so you have to find those that aren't made in the body and put them in the diet. We have amino acids in all of our feeds. Most everybody does to some degree. I don't know what the combination is in all the programs, but I can't give you just specific ones that you need to go look for. You need to just make sure you have them all.
22. Okay.
Somehow.
And I think looking at the amino acid makeup of whatever food you are, because are there amino acids in hay?
Oh, yeah.
So there's amino acids in everything that we eat,
Absolutely.
both ourselves.
If there's
and
protein, there's amino acids.
How does that work?
Protein is made up of amino acids.
Oh, so when someone says to me like alfalfa has a lot of protein in it, which is why we like it, that means it has a lot of aminos in it, which is why people believe or feel or say that alfalfa is more nutritionally dense.
In my opinion, alfalfa is the nearest thing there is to a complete diet for horses.
Oh, interesting. Which is why, but a lot of people get scared of the sugar that's in it.
Not that much. Here's what happens. People say, "Man, I was feeding my horse grass hay and this particular pelleted product, and I put it on alfalfa and it went over the moon. It got hot.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
I say, I can't feed that alfalfa. It just makes them hot. Oh, no. I said, just a minute. Do you know what you did? What you did was first of all, you increased the digestibility of the hay you put in there when the alfalfa. You increase the protein. Alfalfa will accelerate fermentation in the hindgut.
Oh.
So all of a sudden, you're digesting that grain you're feeding way faster, and you're getting more acid produced. Lactic acid. Do you know what lactic acid does?
Well, it's a big part. It has a big component to our muscles. It
causes founder and laminitis.
Ah.
If you get a surge of lactic acid from feeding this alfalfa with this grain until it stabilizes, or quit feeding the grain as much, you're going to have those problems. So they did it to the horse. The hay didn't.
Okay. You choose the next one. Can I adjust the diet based on behavioral cues like irritability, anxiety, or spookiness?
Yes, you can. You can change your diet with certain nutrients. And those nutrients are there's a nutrient that isn't found in too many places called fucose sugar. Fucose sugar is found in certain kinds of mushrooms and seaweeds, certain seaweeds, and also magnesium. Magnesium is nature's sedative.
Cool. Which is why there's, like people suggest if you're wanting to have a good pre-bedtime drink as humans, they say take it, have powdered magnesium. Yeah. It'll relax you. Yeah. So magnesium is nature's sedative.
It relaxes, it normalizes the nerve activity and helps the nerves not overreact if you're excited or something like that.
Okay.
So we, that's how we do it.
Fructose?
Fucose.
Fucose?
Yeah, not fructose. That's fruit sugar.
Yep.
Fucose. Fucose. Google that and see what you learn about it, because it's found in the synaptic areas of the nervous system. Cool. Where the nerves don't touch each other and the impulses have to go from one piece to another through fluid.
Yes.
There's fucose in there.
Okay.
And if you can increase, they showed this in rats years ago, that if you increase that sugar in their bloodstream, they will become real calm and docile.
Fucose. And magnesium.
Fucose is part of it's found in the seaweed that I use.
Yes, you have, Total Equine has sea kelp in it, correct? Which got me really excited when we had that
a certain kind, yes.
A very special kind, which is, I think, proprietary to
Well, not really. It's one that anybody can buy, but not too many people use it because they don't understand it. I've worked with it for about 30 years. It's been in every formula I've made for everything, including humans.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
there's a lot of minerals in the ocean.
Oh, tremendous.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've come to really appreciate that over the years.
So they all settled.
Okay, next question. Does soaking or steaming hay significantly impact the microbial environment of the gut?
Somewhat.
Okay.
And here's how. If you're feeding a hay, say a young tender grass hay, or even young alfalfa that is higher in sugar, that's the soluble part, the non-structural carbohydrate that will wash out if soaked a while and then squeezed. I don't think it's as effective as people think it is, but it will get some of that soluble sugar out of there, if that's what your problem is. So I know people that do that all the time, maybe for no reason, but they just feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, soaking hay is something I've seen lots of people do for lots of different reasons. Some for horses that have asthma, some for people who are concerned about the sugar content. Yeah.
Well, the asthma part, it will help that, because there's mold spores in all hay. There just is.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's in nature. It's out in the air. Mold, bacteria, whatever.
So we can't avoid our horses getting exposed to mold?
No.
Especially
there's
if
a slight amount, but it's not enough to hurt them.
Okay.
Unless they have an allergy, and they get that stable cough.
Yeah.
Like hack
heaves.
Yeah. If they move a little too quick, they cough. Yeah. I know people who do that, and I think it's the same reason.
Okay. Next question. I love how you just this Q&A is just popping. I love it. Can food choices help horses who seem sore or puffy? So not fluffy, but puffy.
Puffy.
Meaning, do you know what they mean by that?
Yes.
Okay.
They're swollen.
Yeah.
For various reasons, and that's where you have to have something that can cause a vasodilation is one of the key things to keep fluid moving in the body. we accumulate water at the lower part of our body if our circulation isn't adequate. And it's very common in people and not as common in horses, I don't think. Activity helps prevent that.
Right.
Exercise will keep that. But, you can use programs that actually realistically cause a vasodilation.
Vasodilation,
blood vessel expansion.
Got it.
Yeah. One of them is called Ascophyllum nodosum.
That's a mouthful. Say that again.
Ascophyllum nodosum. Kelp.
Oh my God. Here we come again.
That's the species of kelp that we use.
Oh, fascinating.
But it definitely causes a vasodilation.
Wow.
Because it's vasoconstriction, it causes the swelling and the edema and the founder. Vasoconstriction in the lower part of the leg, you'll have laminitis if you don't take care of it.
So these are things that people who have horses that have had laminitis should be thinking about.
Yeah, make sure you have something that is documented to increase blood flow. The hoof area is the worst place there is to get blood to. The smallest vessels and the lowest part of the body.
Right. And that's why it's so important that horses move.
Oh yeah.
Because that's how blood flow gets to the hoof.
That's a pump. That hoof is a pump.
Right. I'm gonna dig deep here. How do I balance caloric intake for high performance horses without tipping into energy surpluses that cause behavioral issues?
Well, I think we've kind of covered some of that, that is that you basically figure out what the horse's basic need is, and then you control their intake.
So how do you do that? How do you determine what the basic nutritional requirements of an individual horse is?
You set the basic diet, whatever supplement you're going to use, and then you feed hay until they're leaving a little bit of hay. You come back the next feeding and there's just a little left.
Yes.
Back.
And
then if they'll stabilize there, that's fine. And if they start leaving a little, cut it back.
Okay.
Until they'll actually, I think, take care of their own if you give them a chance. And anything but a Mustang. Don't do that with a Mustang.
Why?
They have no idea when to quit eating.
Well, and a lot of horses, so I've found this and learned this about my mare, who spent a lot of her life wild or feral, is horses that have learned food scarcity mindset.
Oh, that's
horses
right.
that have been wild have a scarcity mindset about food. And it's taken me quite a while to see her leave food. Before she would eat and 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 eat until now she won't do that. But it does take a while, and I do think you have to really dive into nutritionally what you're providing, because if a horse has been wild and has been nutritionally deficit for a long period of time, I do think that it makes quite an impression on their behavior.
Oh, absolutely.
And their relationship with food.
Right. And now the other thing is. Select a feeding program that the more you feed, the more calm they become too.
Whoa. That's so counterintuitive for so many people in the horse world.
I thought you'd feel that way.
Like to feed more and your horse will get calmer and not become overweight. What a notion.
We have people do that all the time.
What a notion.
Yeah. And that goes back to the mineral concentration and the mineral that I have in it. It has enough magnesium so that the more you feed, the more magnesium they're getting. Good quality chelated magnesium, which we haven't talked about. And they just get more calm.
Okay, so talk to me about, what is it called?
Chelates.
Chelates.
Chelates. Chelates.
Okay.
Chelate is a Greek word meaning claw. And if you look at the trace mineral world, they all have positive charges. They're charged particles if they're by themselves. They don't stay by themselves. They're going to latch onto something.
Okay.
And so you can hook them onto an oxygen, which hardly bioavailable at all, or a sulfate, which is better. That's what we had back in the old days when I started in the feed business. But now, then they came along with the proteinuates and with the amino acid complexes, where they put them in with an amino acid slurry, and they will actually bind to some of them. It's not a real high efficiency method, and those are far better than the oxides and chelates. I mean, oxides and sulfates. Then go to the proteinuates and the amino acid complexes. The chelate is one specific amino acid. We talk about amino acids. There's one of those, the smallest one there is in nature is a 2-carbon, just a teeny little guy, glycine. Glycine carries, 2 positive charges. 2 negative charges. The copper, zinc, manganese, etc., all have 2. They go, they become inert. They will not react in the stomach, in the first part of the intestine, where everything else has to be absorbed.
Yeah.
After they go into the duodenum, and they can be absorbed there anywhere. And so basically, by using those, we get almost 100% of the trace minerals that we put in the feed go into the animal, into the bloodstream, to the site.
Wow.
And do all these things. We chelate the magnesium, zinc, manganese, and copper, and selenium to ensure adequate supply of those critical trace minerals. And then, while we're on trace minerals, there's one that has been, I think, underused and overlooked for a lot of years. It's starting to come to the forefront is manganese. You probably never heard people talk about the importance of manganese.
I've never heard anyone in the horse world usher the word manganese until now.
If you know of anybody that's having foals, and they get some crooked legs once in a while, which is not uncommon, it's probably a manganese deficiency.
Really?
Manganese is critical for cartilage and tendon development and health.
Cool.
And if they come out of the mare with inadequate structure and strength in those, they're going to be slightly crooked. You don't have a useful horse.
Right.
They'll never be a performance horse.
Right.
I've had some people that were having problems with that. Put him on my mineral, which has that in it, or on total equine. And that's the last time they have any problems.
Oh, interesting. So manganese is something we should
manganese, yes. Make sure all your feeding programs have almost as much manganese as it has zinc.
Oh, cool.
And copper, zinc, and manganese are what I worry about.
Okay. This is good stuff, Harry. All right. Let's see what else everyone wants to know.
Each one of these topics could be a half hour.
I know. That's the truth. That's the truth. How can I tell if my horse is using the vitamins and minerals I'm giving them?
Now that I don't know if I can answer either.
That's a hard question.
Yeah. I guess just by their health and well-being and activity.
Well, you can do nutritional panels.
Well, yes, you can, but they're very expensive to do the whole panel.
They are, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's often very telling.
Oh, yes, it would be. Yeah. I tend to hang around cowboys, and they wouldn't think of doing that.
And yet, in my side of the world, they'll happily do that.
Yeah. But yes, you could sure enough do a
nutritional panel. And there's 2 types, right? So you can do blood, which will give you some, but not all. The most and I just learned this recently, the full nutritional panel that you want to get is actually from pulling hair.
Yes.
And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that's a huge myth bust for me, was to get a complete and total understanding of your horse's nutritional composition in the present moment, you have to pull hair.
Yep.
Crazy. Okay, you pick the next one. What's the ideal balance between structural, long stem fiber and processed fiber like beet pulp or hay pellets? You're like, okay, great.
Okay.
Let's talk about long stem fiber.
I think I think this is something that is overworried, if that's a term.
Overstressed.
Because we talked earlier about how that the stem length of hay is not the critical part of gut health.
Yeah, I really, really want to dive into this with you, because when you talked about the length of the grass and where the nutrients and the sugar that really matters to horses exists, depending on the height of the grass, which is why long stem grass is not necessarily, when you think you're turning your horse out into like lush fields with big tall grasses, that's not necessarily better.
No, that's a lot of lower quality fiber.
And that's why the spring hay, or spring grass, excuse me, when you turn your horse out in spring grass, that's why it's full of sugar. And people, talk about being careful with that.
Yes. I caution people on when that first beautiful grass comes on to be careful how many hours they can spend out there. And if they have to graze from dark to dawn.
Cool.
Dark to dawn, that's when the plant is taking all that sugar and making it into fiber.
Beautiful.
During the daylight hours, it's just taking it up out of the ground and bringing it up through the stalk and getting it ready. So
that's amazing to understand the processes of grass, to understand when it is actually best for horses to eat.
Mm-hmm. But that's an old rule that, and so a lot of people get it backwards. And that's bad.
Fascinating.
And of course, the management maybe isn't too easy for a lot of people to turn out at dark and take them in it before the sun comes up, or shortly after the sun comes up.
Yes.
You got a little time after the sun comes up till that plant gets a good shot of sunlight and things start moving. So.
Okay, next question, and I think it looks like we have time for two more.
Okay.
Can slow feeding strategies fully meet the psychological and digestive needs of stabled horses?
Oh, yes. I have no problem with that. That keeps a horse busy, and that's what a lot of people want their horse to be. So I'm not big on slow feeders, but I know they're necessary. But no, psychologically, I don't think it's going to bother a horse. I've never heard anybody say it does.
Yeah, slow feeders, I think, I use them for my horses, and I think there's a lot of benefits. Digestively, let's talk about slow intake versus, because when, if I give my horses some alfalfa, which I do, and I do really, I'm not someone who believes that alfalfa is the devil. But I do think, like, I watch the way my horses are with alfalfa, and they're like, this is like, it's like, they get really excited and they eat it. And I'll see my mare take like a big chunk.
Yep.
So I try to provide her alfalfa when she has in a slow feeder, in sort of a slow feeder delivery, because it just slows down the intake. How does that affect a horse's digestive system and overall internal health?
Well, first of all, they'll process it better before they swallow it.
Right.
And that will help the digestion. The smaller the particles, the more efficient it's going to be. The other thing is that if they have something to do like that, and they're not taking in very much at a time, then you start the process of digesting maybe a little bit better before it actually gets to the hind gut.
Right.
So you get more of it used before it gets there.
Got it. I also really appreciated a couple of vets in Florida mentioned that it's always worth looking at your horse's manure or poop.
Yes.
Because you can actually see, are your horses chewing enough?
That's right.
You can actually see whether your horses are chewing enough. And if they're not, then slowing down their intake of forage might really benefit their digestive tract.
Or you may be feeding them too tough a fiber.
Right.
But yes, if you when you find some droppings, take your foot and just squash it. And if you find some of these fibers that long like that,
so anything like a finger length?
Oh yeah, that's too long.
Okay.
They should be much shorter than that.
Okay. So you want to be looking for things that are like fingernail or half a finger.
Yeah.
Anything like that is okay. Because there's a lot of people who listen to our podcast who are not watching. So we're going to describe anything that's fingernail or half a finger is better.
Oh yes.
The smaller the better.
Yes.
But anything like the length of your finger, that means that your horses are not chewing enough.
And they're just not be able to digest that
so that
fiber.
Some changes need to be made.
Might need different hay.
Okay. Might need different hay. All right. Okay. Last question, y'all. Ooh. Which supplement ingredients are genuinely backed by independent research? So which ingredients, and we've talked about them, but which ingredients within a horse's, what's available to supplement for a horse are actually backed by research?
Well, a lot of these supplements have ingredients that have been researched.
Okay, so which ones are the in the ingredients of your feed, of maybe some popular ones that other people use, or supplements? There's lots of supplement companies in the horse world. What ingredients within those supplements or feed are actually backed by independent research? So not research that's done by the company, but actually independent research.
Well, the main one, like in Total Equine, it would be the kelp meal.
Okay.
There's a lot of research on that.
And the benefits of it.
Oh, yes. Yes. And the joint compounds, you know, chondroitin and glucosamine and
yes.
hyaluronic acid, that's a whole different story.
Yes.
Did you know that the body manufactures all of that all the way up to hyaluronic acid from a sugar molecule? I
didn't know that.
It's true. When the body gets a sugar molecule, one of the things it can make is the first step is the not chondroitin, but the glucosamine.
Yes.
It takes glucosamine and makes N-acetyl-glucosamine here, and it makes UDP glucuronic acid over here. It joins those two together. Then it takes those two and it makes chains out of those, on and on, long chains, and they're kind of a thick, sticky substance. And that turns into hyaluronic acid, which finds itself in the joints, in the eyeball, in the skin, for integrity and lubrication. And that's how the body has done it for me for 80 years.
Fascinating.
All bodies have the ability to do that.
Okay.
We can short circuit this thing and put the hyaluronic acid right in to the joints.
Right.
That'll work. And there are some people that do that.
Yeah, lots of people do that.
Yeah. But if we have the right trace minerals and catalysts and things, then the body has a chance to do all these things for us.
Amazing.
Body is amazing.
The body is amazing, and I think we don't give it enough credit in what it's capable of doing.
Right.
And I think we need to help it along a lot, but I think supporting it is probably what I've learned the most in this.
That's all I do is support.
I
support the chemistry in the body. I don't do anything magical. I don't force anything. I just allow the body to do what it's always wanted to do.
Amazing. Well, Dr. Harry Anderson, this has been incredibly educational. I am really excited about how it's going to apply to my own horses.
Okay.
So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure.